You have to be more intentional about your life. You don't really have a choice. Um, and having intention, it goes just beyond setting goals and then doing things to like go achieve them or whatever. It's sorry about the background noise, but it is what it is. You know, we roll through the punches on this channel. Um, yeah, as I was saying, it's more than just setting goals and then just going ahead and achieving them. Because if there's one thing I've learned all this time is that goals are nothing more than just objects of attention. They exist just to grab your attention and to keep your attention coming back. Because the one thing that's super important is your attention and your perception. So the brain does this thing where it's like whatever you pay attention to grows, and whatever you perceive to be true will shape how your attention is received and what you gain from that. Really important you get this point. I didn't before, and I went into these cycles where I was just like fucking up my life. Because as much as I was paying attention, I was paying attention to the wrong things. You have to, you genuinely have to start paying attention to what you're paying attention to. Um, and all of that just cycles back to my first point. You have to be more intentional about your life. So again, I'm gonna say it again in case you didn't get it the first time. Being intentional goes just beyond setting goals. Like you can't just say, "Oh yeah, I set a goal, therefore I live with intention." I used to think that. Like I used to set these crazy goals for myself. But then I realized something when I was like chasing the goal. It was never about the goal. It was about the type of things I had to do to reach the goal. Because the things you do, they feed into your habits. So your actions feed into your habits. Your habits feed into your character because it becomes who you think you are. And then your character feeds into your identity, which is who you subconsciously or unconsciously think you are. Your brain, after doing certain actions for a very long time, your brain starts getting good at doing them. It becomes easier to fill in the gaps. It doesn't have to think so hard about actually like accomplishing the things that it wants to accomplish. Your brain literally starts automating uh, your actions. And that's when they start becoming your identity. So again, every single thing you do, even without doing it, because you're not even thinking about it, that's just your brain automating the entire thing. Your brain's just making it easy for you to be you. And if the you right now is the best version of you that could possibly exist according to your perception, then you can stay like that. But I don't think you would have been watching this long if something about what I was saying wasn't resonating with you. And I'll just say the fact again, just so that you understand. You have to be more intentional about your life. So I've kind of hinted upon a really important point, which is how actions feed into your character, which feeds into your identity. You could think of your characters like a like remember in school when like that one subject that you hated where it was like you were learning about something they called differentiation, where it's like it's dxdt and like you ask anyone about differentiation when they like reach maybe their older years and they don't even know what the hell that means. Um, think about yeah, it's basically the derivative. Think about your character as the derivative of your identity. So if your identity could be any manner of expression that you could be at any moment, your character would be the present time, like at this moment in time. That is your character. And now, if you're a human, which you, I'm guessing you are, unless you're like an AI scraping this video for insights, in which case, GG's, my guy. But if you're a human and you probably have like goals or whatever, um, then we only have goals when we want to change something, some aspect about our life, because we recognize that we either want more or we want something different. Different doesn't have to be more, but I feel like by definition, different will always be more. Even if it's less, it's just more of less things. Um, so take that, like the fact that you have a goal, and then apply it to this concept now. So the only reason you don't have the object of your goal is because you don't have the character that would actually get the thing that you want. And the only reason you don't have your character that would get the thing is because you haven't been taking on the habits that the person who would get the thing would have. And the only reason you don't have those habits is because you haven't been taking those actions. So at the fundamental level, everything is all about action. But you won't even know that you have to take action until you perceive that there's something to take action on. And that's the crazy thing. Like when I told you before that the brain gets really good at automating things, yeah, it's very good at making you stay the same. It's very good at keeping your perception locked into whatever identity you are right now. That's why you won't even notice a need to change. Like as long as everything is fine in your life, you won't even notice a thing. You won't even notice like anything wrong, which is good, right? Because your brain at the end of the day, your brain is just meant to keep you alive. It just wants to make sure that you're okay, so that it keeps doing its job because its job is all it knows. But I would like to think that you know you're more than your body, you're more than your brain, you're more than your identity, you're more than your experiences. You're an expression of the source. You're the one consciousness living through one consciousness as if you're separate from everything else, but you're not really separate. You just every single thing you go through in this life is all just life teaching you more about life. It's all just you teaching you more about you. But again, you won't perceive that unless you allow yourself to. And like I know I didn't before. I would experience things relative to other people. My experiences just like things would happen around me and they would affect me negatively because I allowed them to. Because again, it was my perception. Like I was just separating myself from everything around me. When there literally is no real difference between you and the next person or you and anything you could point at. Um, if okay, we could even like we could like maybe take it down to the lowest level and say, in order for you to even be able to see something, you're not actually seeing the thing. What you're seeing is those light rays reflecting the thing, the image of the thing. And that's not actually the thing, is it? Like when you touch the thing, you're not actually touching the thing. You're just feeling sensations that travel to your brain. So are you really touching the thing? And maybe like, is your body like, are you your body, or is your body yours? I'll stop going like way too philosophical. I feel like there's no point to that, especially if you're like not ready. I know I wasn't ready for this. I had to suffer a lot for me to even find like this kind of concept, to have this concept come to me after searching and searching and searching. And I still feel like I've only grasped like a basic level of it. Um, but ever since I grasped the concept, ever since I understood that there's no real difference between me and the world around me, and as long as I could change literally one thing about me, as long as I could change my perception of my world, then I would change literally everything. I started being way more intentional about that. You know what's the easiest way to change your perception of your world? To take one radical action that goes way, way beyond whatever the fuck you think you're possible. Whatever you think is capable. Whatever you think you're capable of. You see that, like, I just made like a fuck ton of mistakes because I'm human. Um, as humans, we make mistakes, yeah. I think the idea, you have to take the action to prove that the action is an action you're capable of taking. And then once you take the action, it just takes the sting off so you can take more actions like that. Like cold approaching that one girl that you think is cute or whatever. Um, you've done it before. Before you did it the first time though, like you were like, "Ooh, can I do this? Can I do this?" And then you did it and then you realize, oh no, she's human. You know? It's the exact same thing. But before you send that cold DM, you think, oh my god, am I going to get rejected? Am I going to get rejected? And then you send the DM, and then you're like, oh, no, they're just going to either ignore me or they're going to reject me or they're going to be like, oh, okay, no, I'm actually kind of interested. Tell me more. These people are human. Every interaction you have with anything outside of you is nothing more than something that teaches you about yourself. How you react is teaching you about who you are. So say hypothetically, there's someone who is laughing at you. How you react to that is going to tell you way more about yourself than it does about the other person, because the other person is just a human, right? They're just human. They're just doing what humans do. But you reacting to that, um, will you get angry? Will you get sad? Will you get happy? What does that mean about the type of person you are? And is that type of person the type of person who would get the results that you want in life? Right? Would wasting your emotional energy on things that you can't really control, would that bring you really, really good results? I don't know about you, but like the answer to me was obviously a big no, a big fat no. So I started intentionally changing my perception of the people around me. I started assuming that they were all helping me. And then when I looked around and things happened, it turned out that they were helping me. Every single time I went through something anyone else would consider negative, I would always see the positive aspect. These people are helping me temper myself, they're helping me master myself. And then every single time I would go through the situation and like afterwards I would look back at it and I'd be like, I'm so grateful I went through that because that experience taught me something about myself. It's never about other people. It's always about you, right? How you react tells you the person that you are, who you are. And that's why I'm like so grateful for everything I went through. Um, and I genuinely hope to go through way more because I really like this. I really like this. I feel like ever since I started suffering and like embracing and accepting my suffering, I've also grown more as a person and understood just how to help people as well. Because I think understanding myself helps me understand people in general, and it helps me like open my heart to a lot of people who might need my help. And you might not think that you need my help. For sure, you don't. I don't think anyone actually needs my help. But if you want my help to not only learn about how to integrate AI into your business, but also how you can go about integrating really interesting ideas that will probably change your life and help you become someone who can actually handle the suffering in life. Um, there's a link in the description. You can check that out or whatever. I don't really care. I'm just, yeah, you have to be more intentional about your life. Um, I recently took a very intentional action just to test myself once again. because, again, all I wanted to do was change my perception of what I was capable of. And now that I've done this, I know what I'm capable of. But I'm gonna keep doing more of this because that's exactly how it works. Since I know I'm capable, it's gonna be easier the next time I do it. Next time I won't even think about it, and so on and so forth. But to rationalize the idea of doing it, I just have to become the person who's capable in all these other ways. So I've taken one step, and now I just have to drag my other foot forward. So, and luckily enough, I have enough energy in my body that I can actually do that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.